All right, guys. So today let's review Home Alone 4, or as I also call it, Home Alone Taking Back the House, which is an ABC Family TV movie from 2002, um, and is the continuation of Kevin McAllister and his family, but played by different actors, and a lot of complete inaccuracies to the first two Home Alone movies. The basic plot of this is that Kevin is sad because his mom and dad got divorced, and he goes to his dad's new girlfriend's mansion, Natalie, and she's a really snooty, mean character. And Marv breaks out of prison with Vera, and they have an accomplice inside the house. They're trying to steal the royal prince for reasons, I guess, just to get money. They don't explain that. But that is the basic plot of Home Alone 4, Home Alone Taking Back the House. I'm going to say it right here. This one's terrible. It's weird, though, because I don't hate watching it, but I just can't stand the idea of it. Like, it's definitely not a movie where I, I can watch it. I definitely can. I'm not saying it's good at all. It's bad. It's really terrible. But it's one of those movies that doesn't piss me off in that way where I can watch it, but it's just so bad. Um, so this one is terrible in the plot and also terrible in the inconsistencies. In this one, I think Kevin is 9, and I think in Home Alone 2 he's 10. And also, it just doesn't make sense with like all these other actors looking way younger than their counterparts in the Home Alone movies in 1 and 2. Um, and also, Kevin only has two siblings in this. I know even if you watch the first two Home Alone movies, you wouldn't immediately understand that Kevin had four siblings. Um, besides like a picture, but like he has four siblings in the first two Home Alone movies. And in this one, he only has two. He has Buzz and Megan, and that's it. He's missing another brother and another sister. I think Lenny and I forgot what the other girl's name is, but he's missing two family members. Apparently now they just don't exist in this Home Alone universe now. Um, Another inconsistency is that Marv is literally just Harry, but he's not Harry, if that makes sense. And it's played by French Stewart, which is very weird. Um, it's like they didn't even watch the first two Home Alone movies because Marv was the dumb one. Marv was the one that didn't wear the hat. Harry did, and Harry was the planner. But they call this guy Marv, but he is completely Harry in character. That doesn't make any sense at all. Again, it's like they didn't even watch the movies to understand that. The actors almost look nothing like the original actors, besides the guy who plays Kevin's dad. Like, I thought he looked most similar to John Hurt, even though he definitely doesn't look that similar. But I feel like out of all of the actors involved, he looked the most similar to the counterparts of the other movies. The kid who plays Kevin doesn't really look like Kevin. Like, look at this. Like, look at this comparison to like the pictures of the two Kevins. That does not look like Kevin, or Macaulay Culkin. Um, the mom in the movie is like a looks like a 25-year-old something, like hot mom, and like in Home Alone, the first one and the second one, Catherine O'Hara is a normal looking mom. She's not like a model looking mom. Like, it's weird to see this mom in this movie. The actress who played her, I don't know what her name is. And also Buzz and Megan don't. At least Buzz doesn't look anything like he does in the other Home Alone movies. He's a bigger guy, and in this one he's like a little shrimp kid. And Megan, I don't remember what she looks like in the Home Alone movies 1 and 2 because she's such a background character, and all the other characters are background characters in that movie, like the other brothers and sisters. But it's almost like they watched Home Alone 3 instead and realized that in Home Alone 3 Alex has brother and sister, so maybe they just thought, oh, Kevin just has two brothers and sisters, or has a brother and sister instead of two each, like the first two Home Alone movies. Again, another stupid inaccuracy that I think doesn't make much logical sense to me. Like, it's like they literally didn't watch the first movie. Um, the score is terrible. I thought that the music in this is so bad. John Williams, his incredible music in 1 and 2 is so, like, I was so sad watching this and hearing this terrible, terrible, like, made TV of the Week music. It was so bad. Even the music from Home Alone 3, I think, is a better score, way better score than this. Um, there's barely any real traps in this, because in the Home Alone movies, these kids are trapping burglars, and in this one, he does a couple of them in which knock over he'll knock over a pan into their face, or like he will put him between a revolving wall door and they'll fling him, and then they'll fly into the chandelier and hang on and fall off, where it's extremely over the top. And that's something to say for a franchise that is already over the top. Um, and it's just so weird. There's not any real good traps in this at all. Like, and that's something that a lot of people go into because it's supposed to be like a comedy, like a silly comedy. And this one just is so unfunny. Um, you've also got something similar to Home Alone 1 and 2 where you've got the butler is a good guy. The butler in the movie is the one that Kevin sees and he's like, oh no, he's a bad guy. Like, Kevin's scared of him. And just like Old Man Marley and the Pigeon Lady in part 2, this guy looks like a bad guy, but then he's not a bad guy. So it's just really bad in that it just copies the first movie again, and the second movie again. Like, it really is legitimately bad with that kind of stuff, and it's just done so terribly. And also, this movie has no snow in it. It's filmed outside of the U.S. in some weird, like, was it like Australia or something? Like, very strange, somewhere where no snow appears, and the ending of the movie, like the last 2 seconds, show like snow falling because they didn't have enough money or budget to have snow, or have a location that was filmed with snow. So this feels so un-Christmassy as well, with all the bad problems with this movie. Like, that's one of the biggest annoyances. I'm like, it doesn't even feel like a Christmas movie. It doesn't even feel like even if it was a bad Christmas movie, it would have been a little more like interesting just to see that. Like the Home Alone sequels, like 5 and the new one, like those at least look Christmassy. Like, those at least look like the holiday. This one does not. There is a really cringy scene, which is just repeating the first movie again, where Kevin is singing in the mirror, like, I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, like in the first movie. In this one, he's singing a song from the song called I Feel Good, and dances around, and it's really cringy and really bad. There is a lot of stilted lines. The acting in this is not good. There's a lot of stilted lines where French Stewart definitely has some of the worst. Like, French Stewart has these lines that are so unfunny and so bad. He'll say to Kevin, like, Kevin will say something stupid to him, like, you're dumb or whatever, or like, get out and stay out. And then there's a line where French Stewart, Marv, says, shut up, you little moron. And it's said like that, where like it's like so unfunny and it's so bad. And like, there's a recurring joke between Marv and Vera, where he says, I'm the boss, and she's like, yeah, you're the boss, and he's like, I'm the boss. And then later, like, whenever he realized that his mom is the one who's Molly, the person who's like the maid in the house, like, she says, no, Marv, I'm the boss. Like, that joke kept going on, and I'm just like, stop. Like, that's annoying. I really thought the lines in this, there were definitely some bad ones. I legitimately am so just sad that this exists. Like, I don't hate watching it, to be honest. I can watch this one. It is so bad, but honestly, it's just kind of fascinating and how terrible it is. There are moments that make me go, oh my god, this is so bad. Like, for example, and also this DVD is like, it was a TV movie, so like, it's got those moments in a TV movie where like it shows a big thing happening, then it cuts to then it cuts to commercials, then it goes back. There's a scene where Kevin is in the office of the butler, looking at the cameras, and then the butler sees him, and Kevin does a big scream like, ah, like at the camera, But in this version, since it's not on TV, it literally Kevin's screaming, and then through mid scream, he's not screaming anymore, and it's just that guy saying, "What are you doing in here?" Like, it's so badly edited because it was obviously made to be a cliffhanger for like a commercial break, like on the TV whenever it was on TV. That was really like stuff like that is also really annoying, and also just the faces this kid makes, like it is just overacting on purpose, and it's so annoying. He is not Macaulay Culkin at all, and this kid barely did anything. I remember seeing whenever I was a kid, I did see him in. This is kind of aging me, but there's a show called The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, which was a Disney Channel show about two kids, twins, who live in a hotel and they cause chaos, and it's like a Disney thing. It was for kids, but he's in that. He's in one of those episodes. And then I looked up his filmography, and he's like not in anything else at all. And I don't even know what the kid's name is. Michael Weinberg. I don't think he's been in anything really after this. Like in the 2000s, like he really just poor kid. Like I feel bad for him because if he wanted to do more movies and shows, like this movie probably just set his course where he wouldn't do anything else after this really because this was just so bad. Also, I got annoyed in Home Alone 3 with the sound effects, like the goofy, like cartoony sound effects. In this one, there's a scene where I shit you not, you've got Marvin Vera, and they are in the kitchen, and like Kevin jumps on something. These two pots of like whatever food fly in the air, and they're flying towards Marvin Vera, and it has the sound of like a helicopter like flying down on them, and it's so bad. The idea that they use that sound effect of like a helicopter is crashing down on them for just two pots up in the air, like that was so bad. And I hate this in 2000s movies with kids movies where they'll do something and then they'll go ooh like that. I hate that reaction where kids are like ooh, and it does that at the end where Marvin Vera run out the door, and then Buzz and Megan trip them, and they fly into the trees. Like they like literally fly. They don't trip and fall right on the ground. They fly up in the air and fly into the trees. And then Buzz and Megan are like, "Ooh!" Like I hate that reaction whenever kids do that in movies, especially 2000s ones. That just pisses me off for some reason. I think it's just so bad and so dumb. And this movie was originally going to be the start of an abandoned TV show that was going to be a Home Alone TV show that would have, I guess, been on ABC Family like this movie. But this was so bad. It got such bad reactions to it. They did not start at all with this one. Apparently there's going to be something about how Marv had like a good brother who is a cop or some shit like that. And I'm like, really? Like that sounds... Like, I'm not going to lie, I would have watched that, but it just sounds so terrible like this one was. And this one clearly, out of every Home Alone movie, was clearly the biggest cash grab in terms of it was the lowest budget, I'm assuming, and it got the most hate, but I feel like it's the one that tried the most just to not try at all. Like, this one is just utterly bad. The other sequels... Any of the other Home Alone movies, any one of them, even Part 5, which I've seen like once, and I'm going to rewatch again soon, or try to for this channel, but Part 5 even was, at the most, just a mediocre like Christmas movie. Like, it had a fine lesson in it. It was silly. It was whatever. It had Malcolm McDowell in it. That was cool. But it was, and it had like Debbie Mazur and the guy who played Darnell and like, in My Name is Earl. So it had a couple good things about Part 5, even though Part 5 is a forgettable, like, kids movie, but, like, it's way better than this one, and that one isn't even that great. So it's so weird to say that this one is just truly one of the most insulting, like, sequels ever, and it really does not try at all. Like, I said, with all the inaccuracies, with the intentions of it, with it being a sequel but having none of the actors in it, they apparently approached Daniel Stern to come back, and he said, "No, I'm not gonna do that. Like, why would I do that? That sounds awful." And he didn't do it. So He got a positive there. He did not go back to this movie. And again, there are no actors to connect this movie to the original two movies at all. And that's the thing that's annoying about it. And also, the only actress in this movie besides French Stewart, that I know by name, Missy Pyle, who plays Vera, who I really think is a cool actress, and I enjoy her and stuff. Um, she was in Ma, and I think she was in A Simple Favor, which was really good. But she's an actress that I usually see her in stuff, and I think she's funny. I think she's fine. Like, I do like her in these in other movies, but this movie, like, she's like one note, like everybody else is, where she just says, like, she talks in a Boston accent, and she like says, like, "You're the boss," like stuff like that, and it's just really bad, and it's just a shame because I'm glad that, I guess if I give this movie credit for one thing, is I'm glad that she was in this movie just to have her hopefully set her career course, because I do like her in these recent movies I've seen her in. Like I said, like Ma and A Simple Favor, and I know she's in a lot of other stuff, and I do want to see more stuff with her because I do like her as an actress. I'm glad that this movie, how bad it was, I'm glad that this set a course to whatever she did to where she is now in her career. So that's cool. French Stewart didn't have a career after this. He was Inspector Gadget in Inspector Gadget 2, I believe. But yeah, he didn't really do much after this. The kid who was Kevin in this didn't do anything at all, really, after this. None of these actors I know at all, besides, like I said, French Stewart and Missy Pyle. French Stewart is first credited in this movie. Like, he was obviously the biggest actor involved in this, but he was still, it's such an insult. Like, it's not like I hate French Stewart, but like, I don't really know what he really has done. Honestly, I think I've seen stuff with him, but I think he's probably just really forgettable. Like, I just don't remember anything. He's not really forgettable in this one because he's so terrible that I can remember his lines, like, "Shut up, you little moron." Stuff like that, like, is memorable just because this is so terrible that I can remember things about it. Like I said, I didn't feel like I was annoyed at this movie. Like, this movie I was annoyed at it, but I didn't feel like I absolutely hated this movie like it's the worst thing ever. It's definitely not the worst movie ever. It is clearly just a bad cash grab from the 2000s that was obviously trying to bank on the Home Alone fame, or Home Alone franchise money, how the money guzzlers Fox was and now Disney are, where Home Alone has had 6 movies. And say whatever you will about all the movies. Like I said, I love the first two. I don't know, I love the first 3. From nostalgia reasons, and this one's terrible. 5 and 6 are forgettable, but they're not the worst thing ever. They're just whatever kids movies. This one is really bad. It's really bad, but I can honestly watch it. I don't get mad watching it because I'm fascinated by how terrible it is. But it's still a terrible movie. Like, I'm not saying it's good at all. It definitely is so terrible, but at least I watched the first 4 movies again and reviewed them all on the channel. Because, like I said, I have watched these movies dozens of times. Love these movies so much. The first 3, and I'm gonna review part 5 soon. I'm debating on if I'm gonna rent it or if Black Friday is gonna have, like, maybe it'll be like $1 or $2 on DVD and online, and I'll buy it if it's that cheap. But I don't. I do want to rewatch part 5 just to review it on this channel, but I don't remember loving it. Like I said, I thought it was whatever, mediocre from what I remember. Like, it wasn't anything terrible, but it wasn't anything that good either. So we'll see when that road comes up how I feel about Home Alone, the Holiday Heist, or Home Alone 5 whenever I review it again, or rewatch it again and review it for the first time on here. But that is my thoughts on Home Alone 4. Taking Back the House, which is just, again, a terrible title. Oh, and I've got to mention, too, going on another rant. So this movie is set in 2002, and it's set in 2002, even though the first 2 Home Alone movies are set in the 90s, and this movie is set in the 2000s with the 2000s things that Kevin has, with the spy gear, with the remote control airplane, with all of this stuff, it is from 2002, but the first two movies are from 1990. Are you kidding me? Like that, they couldn't even make this accurate to the first two movies in terms of the years that they were made. Like that as well. Like I said, so many inaccuracies. How it's not in the 90s. It's Kevin has only one brother and sister now. Everybody's younger than they look in the other movies. Um, Marv is hairy for some reason. Like all of those reasons and those inconsistencies just make this one of the worst one. This is easily the worst Home Alone movie, but it's definitely one of the worst sequels ever. But like I said, I can surprisingly watch it just because I am fascinated by how bad it is. I don't get angry watching the movie, but I do like to point out all the things that are really, really terrible about it, because it is a terrible movie, no doubt. Like it is horrible. I don't rewatch it much, but I didn't hate this rewatch. Even though I think the movie is so terrible, I didn't hate watching it. So that is it for today. Like I said, Home Alone 5, I've got a review that I will review sometime soon for it. Like I said, I'm going to see if I'm going to get it on Black Friday. We'll see, because I know it'll be dirt cheap on there. Hopefully it's on there, because it's a Christmassy thing, and there's Christmassy stuff for Black Friday. So we'll see, but that's it for today. I got more reviews coming up, so I'll see you guys later. Take care.